I was sick. I couldn't even hold a pen.
Missy Elliott was a major force in the music industry in the 1990s and early 2000s, but after riding the wave of success for 2 decades, she just completely disappeared from the public eye for several years. Back then, no one really knew why she went away, and the reasons behind her disappearance are honestly shocking. It's no secret that the music industry is highly competitive and constantly evolving, so it can be difficult for artists to maintain their relevance over a long period of time. But this was seemingly not the case for Missy Elliott. She made her mark on the music industry and was definitely one of the defining musicians of an era. And if you think that's an exaggeration, then you must have missed how excited everyone was when Missy shared the Super Bowl halftime performance with Katy Perry in 2015. I mean, she disappeared from the spotlight for about a decade and everyone still knew her songs when she came back. Missy's talent is just undeniable, and this is backed up by the fact that she literally started her own record label at just 25. Missy started in the industry by performing the R&B all-female group Faye's later renamed System. Like most up-and-coming stars, she actually faced some rejections early on in her career, but this was mostly due to the music industry's negative and image-conscious bias toward women. Luckily, Missy joined forces with her longtime friend Tim Timberland Mosley and proved herself as a credible hitmaker. This style was a mix of futuristic hip-hop beats, soul grooves, and traditional gospel harmonies, and it seemed to resonate well with their audience. In 1997, Missy Elliott released her debut solo album, Supa Dupa Fly, which was later certified platinum. After that, she started making hits for some of the biggest names in the industry. I'm talking about Janet Jackson, Ariana Grande, Ciara, and Mary J. Blige, as well as so many others. Her incredible talent led to her bagging 5 Grammy Awards as a rapper, singer-songwriter, dancer, and producer. But despite her success, Missy's life has not always been a walk in the park. If anything, her early years were anything but dreamy. She's been super open about how she was always at the receiving end of DV. This came from her father and her 16-year-old cousin. Missy recalled that she luckily found a sanctuary in her room, with music becoming her escape. But it wasn't just Missy who suffered DV from her father. Her mother was also constantly facing similar issues, making it unsafe for Missy to leave the house. So they kept low for a while, probably thinking that they could just wait it out. But that's not what happened. Things escalated when Missy's father decided to pull a weapon on her mother, threatening to bring her life to an end. Luckily, when Missy was 14, her mother Patricia decided that she'd had enough and it was time to leave the situation. Apparently, her actions were also somewhat spurred by the fact that she believed in Missy's dreams. However, things didn't suddenly get great for them. If anything, their financial situation got even worse, and although Missy knew that leaving her father was the right decision, it didn't stop her from living in constant fear that he might come to find and harm her and her mother. She later revealed that this was probably the scariest time of her life, but thankfully, he didn't come looking for them. Missy suggested that maybe her father recognized their reasons for leaving and accepted their decision. However, despite the passage of time, the traumatic experience of her childhood remained deeply ingrained in Missy's memory, and this led to her having to deal with some mental health issues. Back in 2005, she even announced that she was working on a movie based on her life, and that included this difficult period that not everyone knew about. Although no one really knows if the movie will ever get released, there are actually rumors that it's still a work in progress. Either way, Missy's childhood was far from the only tragic incident to occur in her life. Another musician, Aaliyah, and Missy ran a collaboration before Aaliyah sadly passed away. Their collaboration began when Missy was still trying to find her way in the music industry. Aaliyah's hit song, One in a Million, was on everyone's lips, and it apparently birthed this partnership. But their relationship was far from a mere partnership, as Missy considered Aaliyah as a sister. So as expected, Aaliyah's passing was a huge shock to her. Shortly after this happened, Missy went on a hiatus from releasing singles, but her absence was not just due to grief. It was also partly due to her health issues, at least according to Billboard. Not everyone knew about this back then until it eventually came clear in 2008. Missy was experiencing significant weight loss and was rushed to the doctor, and this was when everything went even further downhill. She found out that she had Graves' disease, a disorder caused by the thyroid gland producing too much thyroid hormone. This was devastating news. Missy believed that her busy schedule could have been one of the causes of her disease. Her hair began to fall out, her eyes bulged, and she developed high blood pressure from possibly overworking. She even experienced tremors that nearly led to a car accident. And despite undergoing radiation treatment and trying to control the disease, Missy somehow tore her Achilles tendon in 2005. This required surgery and a long recovery. But as always, it didn't stop her from working, as she used this time to put several unreleased albums together. Her health issues led to her disappearance from the the spotlight until her appearance at Katy Perry's Super Bowl halftime show in 2015. Naturally, the crowd went wild and everyone was excited to see her. Honestly, it was one of the highlights of the event. But apparently, the lead up to Missy's performance had been incredibly difficult for her. She revealed in an interview that the pressure of the event had taken a heavy toll on her and caused her to have a panic attack. The stress was so bad that it culminated a trip to the hospital for her just before the event. While she didn't describe the exact nature of her health scare at the time, she did later reveal that she had IVs in her arm. At the time, no one really knew about all this. We only found out about it 2 years later in 2017 when Missy mentioned the health scare on her Twitter. Even though the event took a toll on her, she managed to pull off a memorable performance, cementing her status as one of the greatest artists of her generation. And despite her struggles with anxiety, Missy has continued to push herself creatively and make groundbreaking music. Her willingness to be open about her mental health challenges serves as an inspiration to many of us and to her fellow artists. Even after she was diagnosed with Graves' disease and had to withdraw from the spotlight for many years, Missy continued to entertain from behind the scenes, writing and producing for other artists. In 2019, she received an honorary doctorate at the Berklee College of Music, and I think we can all agree that it's just been great to see her getting healthier and stronger in the recent years. Anyway, what do you guys think about all this? Did you know that Missy Elliott has been through so much? Do you agree that she's one of the greatest artists out there? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below.